Hi everyone, welcome back to my Decades of Action Challenge series. I'm doing a summary video right now on the first 10 entries in Paul Breihan's list of the most important and influential action movies of the past 50 years, starting with The Bullet in 1968 and moving forward. So yeah, first 10 movies, some of which I'd never seen before. I'm going to mention each one of them and also highlight a particular scene that I felt was the best set piece of that movie, and then pick a favorite. So, let's get started here. First we have, of course, Bullet from 1968, directed by Peter Yates, starring Steve McQueen, Jacqueline Bisset, and Robert Vaughn. And of course the highlight in this movie is when Steve McQueen realizes that he's being followed by a couple of bad guys in a black Dodge Charger, and he turns the tables on them in his blue Mustang, and a big long car chase ensues in the streets of San Francisco. It's a classic of the genre, of course. Next, 1969, The Wild Bunch, directed by Sam Peckinpah, starring William Holden, Ernest Borgnine, Emilio Fernandez, and a whole bunch of other people. It's a Western. There's this incredibly violent, bloody shootout at the end, but the sequence I'd like to nominate for this category would be the train robbery that comes earlier in the movie. The gang, our heroes, basically hijack a train, roll it down the track without the soldiers that were accompanying it, offload the boxes of rifles, and then put it in reverse and send it back towards the guys they just robbed. Really elaborate scene, very, very well done, really liked it a lot. I mean, the shootout at the end is pretty great too, but it's pretty chaotic, whereas the robbery is, done in a really, well, it's clear what's going on right there. Everything is just very well choreographed and neat, and I appreciate that very much. 1970, The Chinese Boxer. This is starring and directed by Jimmy Wang Yu. It also stars Chow Seung, I believe is how you say that person's name, and Lo Lie, maybe? Lo Lie? Not really sure. Anyway, the category, the set piece I'd like to nominate here would be the first time Jimmy Wang Yu basically plays a vigilante who's, fighting back against the gangsters that have taken over his village. He walks into a casino that they run with a mask. And once they realize who he is, the minions that are working for the gangsters surround him, and then he fights them off. It's really, really the first really big set piece of the movie, and it's a good one, really good one. Next, 1971, Dirty Harry, directed by Don Siegel, the first Dirty Harry movie starring Clint Eastwood as Harry Callahan. Again, another San Francisco movie. Andy Robinson and Rennie Santoni also co-star in this movie. There's a sequence which Morgan Freeman calls a running game in his movie, the Along Came a Spider, in which he is basically bounced around the city from phone to phone, and the villain basically tells him to go here, now go there, now go there. He's trying to get him to lose any sort of police escort that he has while he's making a drop for a ransom payment. So there's a scene like that in Dirty Harry, and that's pretty exciting because he's got to run, flat out and get to each payphone, and then find out where he's supposed to go next. So I like that scene a lot. 1972, The Way of the Dragon, also known as Return of the Dragon. That's the version I saw, what it was called. Directed by and starring Bruce Lee, also starring Nora Miao. Maiao, maybe? Nora Maiao, and Chuck Norris, of course. And the big set piece in this one is, of course, the final confrontation, the big match between Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee in the Coliseum. Not much question about that. Next, we have 1973, another Bruce Lee movie, Enter the Dragon. This movie is directed by Robert Klaus and co-stars John Saxon, Jim Kelly, and Keen is the villain, the master of the tournament on his own little island. Lots of fights in this movie, lots of really good fights. The one that I like best is the one where Bruce Lee is exploring the underground facilities on the island, and he encounters a whole bunch of the bad guys' minions and fights them all off. You know, there's lots of good fights. That one is my particular favorite, so there we go. 1974, Death Wish, directed by Michael Winner, starring Charles Bronson, Vincent Gardenia, Stuart Margolin, and Stephen Keats. The set piece I'd like to nominate for this movie is a scene in which Charles Bronson confronts a pair of muggers in a subway station. It's a little bit more elaborate than the other ones as far as just, you know, the how the scene plays out. So that would be my pick for that particular movie. 1975, Dolomite. Dolomite, directed by D'Urville Martin. He also stars as the movie's bad guy. The hero is played by Rudy Ray Moore, based on a character that he developed in his own comedy routines, and co-stars Lady Reed. The highlight of this movie, action-wise, is the big climactic fight between two sides of people that want the streets for themselves in this club. There's a whole bunch of different people fighting in different corners of the club. It's definitely the highlight of the movie action-wise. 1976, Assault on Precinct 13, directed by John Carpenter, starring Austin Stoker, Darwin Jostin, and Laurie Zimmer, amongst other people. The big highlight of this movie for me, as far as the action goes, was the scene in which the four principal characters are, each of them, taking a corner of the police station and shooting at the incoming gang members, trying to ward them off. Just cross-cutting between those four people, reloading and firing, you know, at the guys that are trying to get in and invade and take over the place and kill everybody inside. Good set piece right there. And finally, from 1977, we have Rolling Thunder, which I just watched last week, directed by John Flynn, starring William Devane, Linda Haynes, and Tommy Lee Jones. And the highlight of this movie, there's a few fights in this movie, but the highlight clearly is the climactic shootout where Tommy Lee Jones and William Devane go after the men who killed William Devane's wife and son. Earlier in the movie, they invade this building, they shoot the place up. Yeah, lots of action there. So yeah, those are the candidates. So now I have to pick a favorite, which is not easy. I'm sort of weighing between like 3 different ones, I think, right here as my favorites. I think I will go with Enter the Dragon. Bruce Lee fighting off all of Mr. Han's minions in the catacombs of his private island, taking them on, you know, a few at a time, and just fighting them all off with the greatest of ease. Yeah, a lot of these scenes don't really compare very well to the scenes from modern action movies because of the resources, you know, the limited technology that they had in the 70s and 60s. Not to say that these are bad scenes, they're just kind of limited when you compare them to, you know, the scenes that I'm used to watching in action movies. But yeah, that scene between Bruce Lee and all those guys he's fighting off, that's a really good one, so that'll be my nomination. So that leaves me with the question of overall best film out of this selection, which is a tougher question, actually, because the movies are all so different from each other. At least it's a tougher question for me. But then again, I do this every year when I try and make a top 10 list of the movies that come out over the course of a year. You know, they're all so different from each other. The best ones tend to stand out, but still, choosing one of the best is hard. For me, it really comes down to, well, it wouldn't be any of the martial arts films because they're a bit too silly for my tastes, and it wouldn't be Death Wish either because I really just didn't like that movie much at all. I think the movies out of these 10 years that I most admire would be the ones at the very ends. We have Bullet and The Wild Bunch at the start of the period, and at the end Rolling Thunder, and I think those are the 3 best overall. And if I had to pick just one of those 3, don't know. I'm going to say The Wild Bunch. I think that probably The Wild Bunch is the best overall movie out of the lot. That's just, you know, the way I'm going. I don't have any super particular reasons for that, other than I think it's just It's just how I feel. Just feel that Wild Bunch is the best out of them. But Bullet and Rolling Thunder, they're both really darn good movies, and I think that Bullet's probably maybe a little bit better than the Rolling Thunder, at least, you know, by my own tastes, really. And, you know, I'm not talking about anything other than my own tastes here. Breihan picked the movies. I'm evaluating. That's just how this is going. I'll tell you one thing, though. If Breihan had picked The French Connection instead of Dirty Harry for 1971, it would win both of these categories easily. I love that movie. Just love it. I forgot to mention the last couple of videos that when Breihan posted his article for 1996, he mentioned, of course, the next movie that he would be reviewing for 97, and that was Face Off, the John Woo movie with John Travolta and Nicolas Cage as his pick for most important action movie of 1997, which was a correct guess on my part, which means that I have correctly guessed 9 out of 15 so far, starting with 1983 and going forward. I tried to guess what they would be. So that's almost 2/3 of correct guesses for that period right there. So yeah, that's not terrible. The next one he'll post will be on Face Off, and he'll tell us all what his choice for 1998 will be, and my guess in that particular instance is Saving Private Ryan. It could be Ronin, but I think it'll probably be Saving Private Ryan. Because although it's a war picture, it's very much an action picture too. Bunch of guys on a mission, some big set pieces there, of course, especially the climax. So yeah, we'll see. You know, when I do my next video, I think it will be out at that point. By the way, my next video, of course, will be the Walter Hill film, The Driver. So look forward to that. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to see the videos that I've made on these films so far, of course, link below in the description to the playlist where they're all located. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you again real soon. Bye.